So I remember when I would experience crippling social anxiety. I'd be driving back home after the social interaction or after a party, even just hanging out with my normal friends. And I would be leaving and I'd be like, it feels so like heavy inside, like my heart was a bit like quenched and I felt like I couldn't be me. The me that was dorky and I was just my full self-expression, when I'm private with like privately when I'm with my girlfriend, and sometimes I would have like these dorky moments and I would tell her like, like, and being vulnerable with her, and I'd be like, why can't it be like this when I'm with other people? Like, why do I hold back? And I've slowly been working on that, on peeling the onion as to like why I can't be my full self whenever I'm with other people, with anybody, right? Um, and I think other people do that to us, like quote unquote do that to us. Like a friend brings out a certain part of your identity, a certain part of your personality. Your mom brings out a different part, your grandparents, your coworkers, and so on, right? But how can you? I've always admired the people that can. It's when that are described. What you see is what you get. I love those types of people because they're not trying. They're not putting on an act. They're fully being. Their full self-expression is unfiltered, and it garnishes a sense of trust. Like, I trust this guy and I like him. Quirky, right? Says things that are kind of edgy, and he's funny, right? Sometimes he says things that are just outlandish, right? But at least I know he's honest and I like him because he's charismatic and he's not afraid to speak his mind. And then you meet the other person that tries to have everything perfect, say things in the right way. They watch what they say. They don't laugh at certain jokes. They kind of hold back, right? And you, first of all, don't trust them as much, right? And maybe they seem a bit stuck up. And look, I'm describing myself here. Like, this is how I feel like I am sometimes, but I'm truly not. I'm actually not that way. It's just this front that I'm putting on, this composed person. When in reality, like, what I want the most, what I've wanted the most, was to be fully me, my full self-expression with no filter, not putting on a performance. And that's the key. When I realized this, that I was putting on a performance. Like when I would go show up in front of people, I thought I had to go and put on this Reiki mask, this person that was a shell of who I really was. Because I didn't fully self-accept who I was, then I had to make up this other identity that was just a shell of who I actually was. And as I slowly have approached just being me, being fully me, and just fully accepting who I am, I've realized that there's actually a process to slowly but surely peel the layers that you've put on, right? Because what happens is that you go out, you put on this front, you don't get the validation that you want, and you don't get the validation, therefore you go back, you get more anxiety, you put on a new layer because that layer was not enough, and you go back out there, and the vicious cycle continues, and you continue to stack on more and more layers to the onion, and some people are so far gone, they forget who they even are anymore. But that's the thing, forgetting who you are. Because now we ask the question, well, who am I really? Right? You are just stream of consciousness, intelligent, infinite intelligent consciousness manifesting itself through you. And so it's whenever we grasp for control, whenever we try to find like, who am I, right? That's when we least know who we are. But when we fully let go and we're just fully self-expressing, then we feel like we're actually somebody. This is me. It's a paradox. It's very weird. And you've experienced this before whenever you're, you know, playing sports probably with friends or in high school sports. I remember I would play and I'm just behaving and reacting completely based on instinct. I'm not thinking about maybe I should do this or I should do that. No, it's all instinct. All thought process is gone. It's full stream of consciousness. When you're rock climbing, it's just you fully here with the rock. It's you no longer exist. You're not thinking. It's full instinctive action. And why should we be putting on a performance whenever we are out with people? We feel pressure. Yeah, because it's a performance. If you were out, like being a professional soccer player, you're going to feel that pressure because you have to go perform. But that only exists in that environment. In any other situation, you shouldn't feel that pressure. And it's the fact that we're thinking about us, back to the paradox. When we think about us, about how we look, about how we're behaving, about how other people are perceiving us, then that's when we immediately have the ego filtering, policing, making sure that you do the right things so that you get the right reactions from people. And there comes the anxiety. You become a shell of who you really are. But I'm sure you've experienced moments also like when you're in deep conversation with friends, right? You feel fully comfortable with who you are. You may have had a few drinks when you're like in the flow. You're just laughing, boom, you're just cracking jokes, right? We all have those moments of magic where we're just fully present with our friends, with our family, whoever we may be with, maybe with one person. You can cry, you can laugh, it doesn't matter. You don't feel judged and you're not performing. You've actually fully forgotten about you and you are just pure stream of consciousness just emanating through you. Think about this. If you were an actor in a movie, right? What is the director trying to get? Like if the director were to come and tell you as the actor, hey man, I want you to like play this part as if you were actually living it. Fully spontaneous, right? I don't want it to feel pretend. And of course, right? That's obvious, right? That's an actor. And whenever you go and see that at the movie theater, you are perceiving that as this is actually happening. This actually is real. They're so good at their job that they can make you feel that it's actually happening. So, isn't that how we're supposed to be in our lives? Just fully self-expressing, not holding back anything, unapologetically yourself. Here's the rub right here. It's in the moments that we forget about us that we feel like we belong. It's in the moments that we're constantly thinking about us where we feel like we never belong. That's the paradox. It's in the moments that we see a beautiful sunset, a purple, pink sunset in the sky, where you're like, wow, it takes your breath away. You're not thinking, how great am I? You feel so small in those moments that you belong. It's the moments that we feel small where we feel like we belong in this vast, grandiose earth universe. It's in the moments that we try to make ourselves feel big, like we mean something, that we feel the most small. And so what do? We have to flip the performance. You're no longer performing. You are being. And that's when we have to get in touch with the outside. The more that we can get in touch with observing all of the creations of God, the trees, this beautiful rain that's happening right now, Birds see those things in the outer world, things that make us forget about us. Seeing the beauty of a beautiful woman, you're like, wow, you know? Or, I don't know, just anything that makes you go back to that naiveness, that sense of awe. When's the last time you felt that sense of admiration? Like, whoa, look at this. Doesn't that bring out the child in you immediately? Look at this. And then you see kids just like playing with sticks. Look at this. Look at this. I just made a little gun out of this. And you see that in people. You see that in people that are fully in touch with that part of themselves. And that's when we come full circle. When we let all the little things become so beautiful and so grand that we feel small. We feel like a child. And then we feel like we belong. And the veil comes off, and that's the shortcut. There's no need to try to become confident, or I need to work on my social skills. Does a kid need to work on his social skills? No, they're just being, right? We keep adding and adding where the real process is removal, letting go, cutting the onion open and finding you in there. And you isn't even you, your name, who you are. It's just simply consciousness manifesting through you physically. That's when we feel the most alive. So that's it, my friend. Become. Just become. No, or better yet, just be. Just be, my friend. Hope this helped. I love you. Love you very much. And talk to you in the next one. See you later. Mwah.